waking up lakeside in the morning and now being here oceanside in the morning, all within like 45 minutes of each other, is such an inspiration. What a great way to wake up and start your day when you open up your van somewhere new and just let all that energy and all that nature flow in and inspire you. I freaking love these days. Only van life, let me tell you, only freaking van life. In today's video, I want to dive into some of the most common asked questions I've had on my channel at this very current moment in time. I get a lot of repeat questions where they're the same ones over and over and over and over. So instead of me taking my valuable time and commenting on every single one of them, I've been compiling a list of all the questions, and we're going to dive into some of them right now. So if you've made any of these questions in there and I haven't responded, this is why. What are the dimensions of my bed? My bed is 6 feet by 4 feet by 13.5 inches high. How I came up with those dimensions was I chose the bins that I wanted to go underneath my bed. Okay, I used some bins prior to van life in my DJ business that I really liked. They were gray, they had these little folding lids, and they just looked good. They were functional. So I bought those bins for under my bed. And that's how I based my bed frame. Those bins were 13 inches, so I gave it about a ½ inch space. So I built these platform legs just above those bins, and then I put a sheet of plywood that fit on top of that. And I based the size of the plywood on the width of the plywood, which is 4 feet, and the length was, well, I just measured from the top of those bins, which gave me 6 feet by 4 feet by 13.5 inches high. And by fluke, that was actually the widest point on my van, because the Ford vans, they kind of go up and they kind of bow a little bit in the middle and then they curve in. So mine is right at the absolute widest point. And my suggestion to you guys is, when you do decide to build your van or get a van, find out what that widest point is. Just keep measuring your wall and find out where that widest point is, and try and build your bed across that point. Because these birds are like, yo, let us in your vlog. They're so noisy. Because when you can buy yourself another inch or 2 inches or 3 inches of space because of putting it at that point, makes the difference on if you can sleep widthwise in your van or if you have to do it lengthwise like some people do. But I know it's gonna be different for everybody. Not everybody wants their bed like I have it. Some people like it lengthwise. I just choose to do it the way I did it because it really opens up the van space, because your bed doesn't take up a majority of the square footage. It just goes crossways, leaving you the rest of the house to live in. All right. How long does my propane last? This is a tough question. I run an Olympian Wave 3 heater off of a 20-pound propane tank, and last year I went through 2 bottles last year. And I know van dwellers that smash a bottle in a week, but you know, I'm sure those guys are leaving their heater on a lot. And I know lately I've been letting my heater run a lot more, and now that I have a roof vent in my van, that lets a lot of heat out, like gone. So I went through 1 propane bottle in 2 months, and filling them up at Costco. I hear in Alberta, Costco is $9 to fill it. Thanks to Ruth on my Patreon for telling me that. I filled up my propane bottle at Costco here, and Patrick does it here as well too. Patrick says it costs him around 12 bucks. It cost me 16 or 17 bucks to fill it the other day. But yeah, but the last time I did it, it lasted me 2 months, and I've been running my heater a lot lately. And now that I got my little visors on the front window, I'm leaving my front windows open more, so there's definitely a lot more cold air and draft coming in because the roof vent and my front windows open more. So you lose a lot of heat running it a lot more. So for me, 1 bottle every 2 months. But like I said, I know people that are smashing a bottle in a month. But I think that's also going to depend on how long you're running it, how long you're in the van, and what kind of heater you're running, because if you got a Mr. Buddy heater off of it, you're going to be smashing those bottles in no time, because those Mr. Buddies are extremely propane hungry, because they're really high BTUs, meaning they put out a ton of freaking heat. So yeah, and I also have a second propane source in my van for my stovetop. So my stovetop burner runs on those little green 1 pound bottles. And I do it like that because I don't want to run a hose all the way through the van, all the way over to the stove, because my stove is on the front side and my propane heater's on the back far side. I just don't want that kind of, you know, hoses. That leaves, for me, that leaves room for error. Because if the hoses are running through and it happens to get a wear and bust a hole in it or something, I would rather it not. So I run it off a little propane bottle. And it's not bad because I'm not a huge cook, so those propane bottles actually last me quite a while. Like, I probably buy a 3-pack of 1 pound bottles and they last me probably 3 months. Because like I said, guys, I don't cook that much, and if I do, they're quick things. Like, I quickly fry up eggs, done. I make some quesadillas, done. You know, fry up a taco or something, done. Super fast. So, I wouldn't sweat the propane too much. I know a lot of people are like, well, how much is propane gonna cost me? Really, guys, your propane costs, even if you had to spend, you know, $15 a week on propane, it's still gonna be way more cheaper than paying rent and all your utilities and whatever you're living in, sticks and bricks and whatever else you got. Yeah, it's gonna be way cheaper. Don't sweat the little things, because it's literally not that expensive. And if you really think about it, you're not going to be running that heater at all in the summertime. So you'll save, like, well, it all depends too though. Like, if you guys are living in hotter climates, you may only run your heater for a couple of months in a year, right? But, you know, if you're living in some places like Alberta, you might be running that heater like 8 months a year. So all those factors are going to play in. Does my low roof bother me? No, not at all. And I don't hesitate on saying no to that one. It's not a deal breaker. Your high top, your low top, what? I don't know what it's like to live in a high top, so I have no complaints about my low top. Zero. Would it be nice to stand up? Of course it would be nice to stand up. But a high top is not something I could have afforded to start, so it wasn't a deal breaker for me. And I think if you can't afford to get into van life because you're like so set on this high roof, then just get what you can afford. I did, and I love my van. And I could see myself in this one just the way it sits with the low roof for many, 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 many more years. Okay, maybe many years, maybe many years. Not many, 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 probably that many more years. But it's definitely not a deal breaker. On that note, so many people always like, get a high top on your van. I don't like the look of high tops on my van. I don't. I think they look funny and I think they look silly. The only time I think a high top conversion looks good on a van like mine is if my van has been adventured out, like jacked up and all 4-wheel drived out. I think they look okay at that point, but on my van now, they end up looking like those hospital wheelchair vans. And yeah, I'm not about to do that kind of a conversion to my van. My van works great as a low roof. Zero complaints at all. None. I love my van. How do I charge my JACKERY battery? There's many ways that you can charge those little portable batteries. One way is to get the solar panels that go along with them. Another way is to buy one of those little, like I used to have them, the little dashboard inverters, the little $25 little cheap ones, and then plug your big battery into that and just charge it while you drive. You know, there's so many little options to charge those batteries. You don't need to go into a building and plug it in. If you're someone like me that drives about 30 minutes a day, that's enough driving to keep that thing topped up. If you're just using it for general use, like running a roof fan, maybe some LED lights and charging a few devices now and then, that little bit of driving will give it enough juice to keep it semi-topped up. You'll be totally fine with it. I myself, I have a deep cycle battery in my van. I have a really small 55 amp hour Optima sealed deep cycle. It's a yellow top one. I have one in my van that charges off of my alternator. So I charge them off of that battery, okay? And I know some of you are thinking, well, why would you have a little tiny house one? Why do you run everything off of that? Because you know what? Those little Jackeries come in handy for so many things. I've used them outside the van, different spots in my van. If I need power in the back of the van, I use that little Jackery for everything, but I use that little house battery of mine to power both of those Jackery batteries. So, but there is tons of options for charging them. You know, and if you get the JACKERY 240, you could take it into the gym with you, to the coffee shop with you, because it's small enough. You can just toss it in your gym bag or toss it in your bag when you go to the coffee shop and just plug it in that way. There is a lot of options, but I myself, you can charge them off your cigarette lighter in your van, and you know, there's so many little options, guys. They're super simple, super easy to charge, and they don't take like 12 hours to charge either. I find my little JACKERY 240, I never let it drop down below 50%, so it's only like 3 hours on the charge and it's done. If you look at it, that's four 30-minute days worth of driving, and you're keeping that thing topped up all the time, easy peasy. Some people have asked if that big JACKERY 440 can run a sleep apnea machine. I think that's what it's called. I don't know anything about this stuff, but that's CAP, whatever the thing is. You guys know, the sleep apnea machines. Yes, JACKERY has told me, yes, that the Big Explorer 440 is 100% capable of running your sleep apnea machine at night. So now you guys know. I don't know much about this stuff, but yeah, they told me yes, abso-freaking-lutely, without a hesitation, yes. But not the little 240, it just doesn't have enough, but the Explorer 440, for sure. Mold and condensation. I honestly haven't had any mold or condensation issues, even prior to my roof vent. I spend a lot of time with my doors open in the van. Like, if I'm out somewhere, I parked and my doors are open, or my doors are cracked. Like, cracked, meaning like they're open just a little bit. Like, I just open it enough so it just lets them breeze through. But I've never been the person that stays locked in my van for long durations of time, not letting any of that grossness of mine out or letting any of the outside in. So I really haven't had a problem. The only time I had a mold problem is when I hurt my back and I was stuck in my van for a freaking week and I could barely even move or get out. I was running my heater, I was in bed, all my doors and stuff were shut all the time. That's when I noticed a little bit of moisture underneath my mattress. I was freaking bedridden for like 5 days. So that was the only time I started to notice a bit of moisture on that piece of plywood. And I was like, oh, and I've never, in the whole freaking year and some prior to me hurting the back, I never had any moisture, any wetness or anything underneath my mattress. Cause I check like crazily, I check like at least every other day, and I've done that since I started the van because I was watching van life videos and they're all like, yo, it's such a problem. I never had that problem until I stayed cooped in the van for those 5 freaking days. So I've wiped underneath my bed with vinegar because I was just told that, you know, don't worry about replacing the wood, a little bit of vinegar and water and let some air at it, let it dry out. And there's not a lot of mold. We're talking like a few little freckles of spots. So it's like, uh-oh. So anyway, it's done, it's all good. But no, I never really had a problem. What type of van do I have? I have a 2004 Ford E250 extended version. And I bought the van at 165,000 kilometers and I've had 0 mechanical issues with the van, nothing. When I first bought the van, I put a new battery in it, got all the services and stuff done, so I knew the thing was ready to rock and roll, fresh for me, but no mechanical problems. I did my back brakes, because all my brakes and stuff were brand new when I bought it, but I did my back brakes. My front brakes need to be done pretty soon. Broken leaf spring was for me like, down this really nasty freaking road. It was like a washboard for like 45 minutes, like, the whole freaking way. But anyway, yeah, that was it. I've had 0 problems with my van, and I'm not a Ford guy or a Chevy guy or a Dodge guy or whatever guy, a Toyota or a Nissan guy. I'm not vehicle savvy that way. All I do know is my van has been super freaking good to us. Last question. Do I recommend the extended version on a van like it's a Chevy Express or a Ford, or, you know, I guess anything that comes with the extended version? Do I recommend it? Well, honestly, guys, I don't think the extended is going to be a deal breaker, because if you look at my van build, right at the back of my bed, I have some storage space, but I don't live in that storage space. I live in the regular version of my van, because the back of my bed is right about where the extended starts. So my bed, my kitchen, a bunch of my front cabinets, all my living area is in the regular version of my Ford van. The extended piece for me is just storage. So technically, it's not really a deal breaker. It's excellent though, because they're no different in price. If you're buying a used one, or you're buying the regular size one, or you're buying the extended one, they're the same dollar value. So if you can find the extended, perfect. And they're easy to park. I've had no problems. They fit within city parking like spots. So I don't know, I would say if you're gonna do it, go for the extended, because you might as well, if you're gonna pay the same price, get the most square footage out of your dollar. All right, guys, we've been talking for 17 minutes. We're gonna let you go because I could talk forever. Hopefully this answers some of your guys' questions. And yeah, if you guys got any other questions, leave them in the video. And I still get to your comments. I've been reading them. Don't worry, guys. Just it's hard sometimes to heart each and every one of them, because believe it or not, that extra hour in a day it takes to click hearts on all these comments that I read is an hour out of my day. So my time is valuable, but don't get me wrong, guys, I still read your comments all the freaking time. But if you have any questions, hit them up in the comments down below. And if you got some knowledge, or you live in a van and you can help these people with some of the questions that they have right here in the comments of this video, that would be super freaking rad. You guys are amazing. I love all of you. Man, we have like the greatest audience here on this channel. My community here is so loving, so heartwarming, and we're just like a tight family, and I love that. All right, guys, we're gonna go. I'm gonna look where I'm standing. Okay, standing like, it's been incredibly uncomfortable. And this slimy log that my phone's been sitting on. Okay, man, is this ever beautiful. We're in Qualicum Beach, BC. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.